Did you know that there are still places in the world where women are sold for just a few $100s? Where girls are handed over to much older men in exchange for camels, gold, or livestock? Where a man can legally have 4 wives, but a woman can't even open a bank account without a male guardian's approval? If that shocks you, keep watching. Because in this video, we're diving into the disturbing reality faced by millions of women living under the shadow of tradition, religion, and power. We're talking about forced marriages, legal polygamy, child brides, and systems where women are stripped of their voice, their freedom, and sometimes their lives. Leave a comment, hit like, and don't forget to subscribe. What you're about to hear isn't fiction. It's real life. In many countries across the Arabian Peninsula, like Saudi Arabia, Yemen, the UAE, and Oman, a woman is considered a legal dependent for her entire life. First under her father's control, then her husband's, and later her eldest son's if she becomes a widow. In practice, this means she cannot travel alone, apply for a job, go to school, or even visit a doctor without male permission. Under strict interpretations of Sharia law, men are granted legal and social dominance over women. One of the most controversial aspects is the practice of polygamy. Islamic law allows a man to marry up to 4 women, provided he treats them equally, but equal on paper doesn't mean equal in real life. Women are often chosen based on age, looks, tribal background, or simply how much a man is willing to pay for them. Because in many regions, the dowry system is alive and well. A man gives the bride's family money, land, or animals, and in return, he gains ownership over the woman. She doesn't choose him, he chooses her, and many times, she's just a child. In countries like Yemen and rural Saudi Arabia, it's not uncommon for girls as young as 12 or 13 to be married off to much older men. Their wedding night is often a traumatic, horrifying experience that scars them for life. Within marriage, women have very limited rights. A man can divorce his wife simply by saying the word talaq 3 times. That's it. No court, no paperwork, no questions. The woman, however, must go through a long legal process and prove she was abused, abandoned, or cheated on. Even then, judges often rule in favor of the man. This creates a society where women are trapped in abusive marriages with no way out. Their pain is invisible to their families, to the law, and to society. In the most conservative communities, like tribal areas of Yemen or deeply religious circles in Saudi Arabia, women are treated like property. A girl can be given to a man who already has multiple wives. Her role is to bear children, stay quiet, and serve. She may be forbidden from speaking at the dinner table, required to walk behind her husband, and forced to cover her entire body, including her face, with a niqab. In some households, a woman isn't even allowed to look a man in the eye. Until recently, women in Saudi Arabia weren't allowed to drive. They couldn't travel without written permission. They couldn't hold most government jobs or vote in elections. And even though reforms have been made on paper, the reality for many is still oppressive. The male guardianship system is still in place, and it makes women legally inferior. In polygamous households, jealousy, violence, and psychological abuse are common. Women often live separately from one another, raising children alone, isolated and controlled. The husband visits when he wants, often just to check in or enforce his authority. He decides which wife gets his time, affection, and support. Many of these women have never received a proper education. Even though technically allowed to go to school, girls are often pulled out before reaching puberty. In Yemen, over half of all girls are married before the age of 15. Many have never learned to read or write. Their purpose is to obey, reproduce, and remain silent. In the next part of this video, we'll take an even deeper look at temporary marriages, so-called honor killings, and what happens when a woman dares to say no. You won't believe what you'll hear next. In parts of the Arab world, marriage is not always meant to last. Among the most disturbing practices is the concept of temporary marriage. Known as mut'ah in Shia communities and mishr in some Sunni regions, these are legal contracts that allow men to marry a woman for hours, days, or weeks. No ceremony. No commitment, just a contract, often with an agreed sum of money, and the illusion of religious approval. When the time runs out, the marriage ends. No divorce needed. No consequences for the man. But for the woman, the cost is devastating. She is often left shamed, pregnant, abandoned, and completely alone. These temporary marriages are particularly common in poorer areas, where families are so desperate they will marry off their daughters just to survive. For these girls, it's a cycle of trauma. Used, discarded, then blamed for their own exploitation. The shame stays with them forever. But the punishment doesn't stop there. In many places, simply disobeying a man, refusing marriage, refusing sex, or even speaking out can result in brutal consequences. So-called honor killings are still shockingly common in countries like Iraq, Jordan, Pakistan, and even parts of Egypt. When a woman is believed to have brought shame on her family by being seen alone with a man, by losing her virginity before marriage, or by wearing the wrong clothes, her own brothers or father may kill her to restore family honor. Sometimes she hasn't done anything at all. Just a rumor is enough. These murders are often unpunished. In tribal societies, male relatives are seen as enforcers of tradition, not criminals. Courts go easy on them or avoid the cases altogether. In some villages, it's not even considered a crime. It's called justice. And when women report abuse, domestic violence, rape, forced marriage, they are often the ones who are punished. Under strict interpretations of Islamic law, a woman who claims rape must present 4 male witnesses to prove it. If she cannot, and she never can, she may be charged with adultery instead. The result? Women who were raped go to prison while their attackers walk free. In Saudi Arabia and Iran, women have been lashed in public for speaking out. In some Gulf countries, they are jailed for simply trying to escape their abuser. There are stories of women being whipped for walking alone, for removing a headscarf, or for social media posts deemed quote, offensive to modesty. And the cruelty isn't just physical. In the name of morality, female sexuality is tightly controlled and brutally policed. In many countries, girls are subjected to so-called virginity tests before marriage. These invasive and traumatic procedures are meant to prove a woman's purity. Failing such a test, even if it's based on false medical beliefs, can destroy her future. She may be returned to her family in shame or even killed. In Pakistan, Afghanistan, and some Arab communities, girls are sometimes exchanged like property in tribal negotiations as part of a settlement to resolve a feud. A girl might be given to another family to balance blood, having nothing to do with her own will or desire. She becomes a pawn in the hands of men, handed over like livestock in the name of tribal peace. And if she resists, she may disappear. Or worse. Even when women do escape, the world outside is rarely kind. Shelters for abused women are overcrowded and underfunded. Laws meant to protect them are rarely enforced. Families hunt down daughters who run away. Social media is flooded with hate campaigns against those who speak out. And yet, despite it all, some women do speak. Activists, survivors, journalists, students, women who use anonymous blogs, encrypted apps, and international press to share their stories, but they do so in the shadows because the cost of being visible can be fatal. In Part 3, we'll explore what daily life really looks like for these women, behind the walls, inside the homes, and beyond the headlines. We'll ask, is there any hope for change? And where can it possibly begin? Subscribe now and stay with us as we reveal the full picture, because silence helps no one. Behind the walls of many homes in Arab societies, away from the eyes of the world, women live in a kind of silent captivity. Their daily routine is not unlike that of a prisoner. Wake up, clean, cook, serve. Many are not allowed to leave the house without permission. Some can't even open a window or talk to a neighbor. Their husbands, often absent for days or weeks, return only to issue commands or assert dominance. In polygamous homes, one man might divide his time among 3 or 4 wives, each living in separate rooms or apartments, barely speaking to one another, isolated by design. The women are kept apart, emotionally, socially, and physically, to avoid competition or conflict, but in reality, it serves one purpose: control. Children grow up witnessing this system. Boys are taught to rule, girls are taught to obey. From a young age, daughters are told their bodies don't belong to them. They must cover up, lower their eyes, stay silent. Their value is tied to their virginity, their obedience, their future as wives and mothers. Sons, on the other hand, grow up knowing they will have the final say over their sisters, their mothers, their future wives. The cycle continues, generation after generation. Education is often cut short. In rural Yemen or parts of Saudi Arabia, girls may attend school for a few years, if at all, before being married off. Higher education is a rare privilege, usually reserved for men. Women who do manage to study face constant barriers, segregated classrooms, limited degrees, restrictions on traveling or speaking publicly. Even in wealthier countries like Qatar or the UAE, where education is more accessible, women still face enormous social pressure to settle down and submit. Employment is equally restricted. In some countries, a woman needs her guardian's written permission to work. If she does find a job, it may be in a separate office, with a separate entrance, and only among other women. In conservative areas, even these positions are frowned upon. A woman who works is seen as less respectable, less marriageable, and more likely to be labeled immoral. Many end up jobless, voiceless, and fully dependent on men. And even when change begins, it moves slowly, often only in the urban elite. Yes, women now drive in Saudi Arabia. Yes, some have entered politics or started businesses. But these stories are the exception, not the rule. Most reforms are cosmetic, designed for headlines, not hearts. The guardianship system still looms large. The fear still lives in every home, and the violence still happens behind closed doors. Yet not all is hopeless. Around the Arab world, a new generation of women is rising. They are speaking, writing, organizing. They are risking everything, including their lives, to fight for basic rights. Some flee their countries and find refuge abroad, becoming voices for those who cannot speak. Others stay and resist from within, creating safe spaces, helping survivors, raising awareness through whatever tools they can access. Social media has become a weapon of resistance. TikTok, Instagram, and encrypted apps have given Arab women a platform like never before. Their stories are raw, painful, and full of courage. One woman in Kuwait secretly documented her life in a polygamous home. Another in Saudi Arabia shared videos from inside her locked room. A Yemeni girl filmed her wedding at age 13. These voices are growing louder, but they need support. From people around the world. From people like you. People who will listen, share, and speak up. Because silence helps the abuser. Attention protects the victim. The more we expose these systems, the harder it becomes to defend them. And maybe, just maybe, one girl watching this video will realize she is not alone. She is not broken. And her life can be more than what she's been told. If you've watched this far, thank you. Now do something with what you've learned. Leave a comment. Share this video. Subscribe to the channel. Use your voice, because theirs has been taken away, and they need yours to help bring it back.